Hello everyone. I'm just logging on to the Elizabeth Crafts family page. I apologize. I was having difficulty logging on to the Elizabeth Crafts Facebook page. So I am in here doing my live for today. I'm just trying to set up my iPad. Just give me a few seconds here. Hi Esther. Sorry, I was having problems connecting to the main page. I'm not sure what's going on there. Hello, Suzanne, Dorian, Jan. Sorry for the inconvenience. Hi, Sue. I couldn't seem to log on to the Elizabeth Crafts main page, so I'm doing my live today in the family group. So welcome, everybody. I'm Karen. I am here for the Elizabeth Crafts Friday live. Hi, Candace. Welcome. Yeah, the technical issues are not fun. The live button wasn't showing up for me, and that's a first. Hi, Diane. Welcome. Hi, Patricia. Yes, I'm here now. So I guess if I go a few minutes past 3 o'clock, I'm good. So Els also wanted me to share some of the cards that I've created. Not all of these have been posted on the Elizabeth Crafts blog. Hi, Jackie. Yes, it's a little cool here in Ontario as well. The button to share isn't showing up, probably because this is a group. So that could be different than sharing through the Facebook page. Hi, Belinda. So to start off with, I wanted to share with you some of the cards that I've created this month. Not all of these have been on the Elizabeth Crafts blog, but these are all designed with a lot of the Elizabeth Craft dies. So for example, this one, this is Josette's tractor, and of course the Florals 12 and the Lacy Leaves. So there's a close-up of that one. I shared that on my Facebook page. This was not posted to the blog. These are just extra projects I did. Hi, Mercedes. Welcome, and yes, happy Friday, everybody. Winchester, Massachusetts. Is it cold there as well, Catherine? I bet it is. So this is one of the cards I created. And then here's another one. This is with the Florals 12 and then the village edges in there. And then, of course, I love the stitch rectangles. They're my favorites. The live signal keeps getting interrupted. Things look good on my end here. You might want to log out, Sue, and then come back in. And then this is a snowflake card I created. This is using these snowflakes. So this is 1692 Josette's, and then I created these snowflakes, this card, with the new Christmas stamp from Esther. So there's that card. And then I have another Florals 12. This is using the stitch circles and the Lacy Leaves. This was actually from one of the classes I did this month. No, you might not be able to share the video, Yona, because this is in a group. And then here's the sleigh card I did. I keep cutting out. It could be because it's in the group. I'm not sure. I apologize for the technical difficulties I am having today. So this is using the sleigh die and of course the Florals 12 again with the trees from the sleigh. Hi Sherry from Edmonton, Alberta. And then this one here, I created this using, I wanted to create something with acetate. So this is just on acetate. My florals are just on acetate, and then I have kind of created like a little wreath there. Hi Janice. Thank you who's ever acting as Elizabeth Craft Designs. The video cannot be shared, which is what I thought. And I apologize for that because it's a closed group. That's what I thought. So this is another card I did. These are just cards that I did on my own Facebook page and not through the EC blog. And Alice wanted me to do a kind of like a show and tell. So this one I did on the blog though. This one was on the blog. So this is using the poinsettia from the Blooms collection. And then again, Florals 12 is on there. And I actually have a few pictures on this one on the blog that you can check out. But, so I'm going to put these aside. The reason we're here today is I created this for today's live. Hi, Els. Okay, I apologize, guys. So this is using, I can show you all the materials I used for this. So I used the Lacy Leaves, which is 1878. Florals 12. I store these in my CD case. And this is 1873. I also used the stitch rectangles, which is 1697, as well as the Christmas sentiments, which is CS 101. This is one of my favorite stamp sets, actually, for Christmas. And then, of course, I always use the softened cardstock. And this one is the 85 pound. And I'm not sure if this one's in stock on their website. I ordered quite a bit of it because it's the only one I use for my florals. And it creates beautiful florals. So those are what I used today to create this card. So I've actually gone ahead and I did assemble a couple of these ahead of time. So Florals 12 creates a gorgeous poinsettia. Now you can do anything you want with Florals 12, but I believe it creates a beautiful poinsettia. I'll see how close I can get in here. So I also got the Lacy Leaves tucked in there just as a detail. I've got the deer from, so I've got two other die sets that I use. So this is the new art journal die, Sidekick Essentials, and this is 1917. And I used the two deer from here. And then for the cathedral window, I used the art journal 1920, See the Mountain. And that is, this here is what I use for my window, and then the shutters on the side. And it creates a gorgeous card. So that's what I have here, is the shutter window. And then I got the two shutters on the side. Cathedral window, I like to call it. Hi, Honora. Hi, Rachel. Welcome. Hi, Cindy from California. Thank you for joining me today. Hi, Mary. Okay, so getting back to the card. So I've actually started to do a few of the florals because they can be a little time consuming. So this is the card I did today for you. So I've got a couple of them, couple of the florals done. So I'm just going to put these to the side and I will show you how I colored and assembled these along with my leaves. We'll get the problem sorted out on the Elizabeth Crafts page. I am so sorry for the inconvenience. I know I had a problem going live on a store page a bit ago. And I don't know if Facebook has changed maybe the amount of people that you can have on as editors. I don't know how all that works. Hi Terry, welcome. So I am just cutting apart my lacy leaves because I will be tucking these in. So I cut them apart and I tucked them in just as a detail. So I've got 2 up there and one couple down here. So I've cut those apart and I'm just going to put those aside for now. Yes, because this is a closed group, you will not be able to share the video. Once it is posted on the Elizabeth Crafts Facebook page, Marley will do that once we've completed the live. You can share it then. Okay, and then we'll be able to, you'll be able to still qualify for the gift certificate from there. Hi Sandra, welcome. So I'm going to color some leaves. The leaves are fairly easy to do. I'm just using Distress ink. So these ones here are shaped and colored. The lacy leaves adds a beautiful touch to all my flowers. I've actually, so I've got it on my tractor card here too. I've got them up here. Just to cut them apart and tuck them in adds a great detail and a nice layer. So the leaves I'm just going to dab onto my, lots of glitter on there. I'm just going to color the edge of the leaf. There's no way you can't color these and get your fingers a little bit dirty. Yes, I am so sorry, Robin, for the inconvenience. But I had to come over to the family page to do the live. And I think Marley will share it on the Elizabeth Crafts page later on, and then you can share from there and still qualify for the gift certificate. I was having some technical difficulty issues today, and I apologize for that. So I'm just coloring the leaves like that. And I like to leave a little bit of a white in the center. It's kind of like the sun is hitting it. I'll do the last one here. I won't be using all of these. So those are done. I'm just going to put those to the side. Yes, computers are excellent when they do work. That's right. So for my poinsettias, for the Florals 12, so this is the large one. So to create this card, I've cut 6 large and 6 medium. And then I've cut 6 of the leaves, actually 7 leaves that I've used on this card. Okay, so I've got lots of extra leaves. And then for my florals, so this is the large one, and I'm coloring these with Distress ink. This is aged mahogany, but any red that you have will work. So I'm coloring from the front, and I always like to start on the edge and drag that color in. And what that does, if you can see here, kind of creates a little bit of depth on that petal. So if you start on the edge and drag that color into the center. Sorry about that, Sue. See if it helps. It might be because we're in a group, a private group, or a closed group, so I'm not sure how all that technical stuff works. So I like to start on the edge and just pull my dauber into the middle of that petal. And then I get a little bit of depth on the outside edges. And then I like to flip it over and just do the tips of the florals. So I've got the rest of mine done, so that's done. And then I need to switch to the blue. So I've got a medium blue poinsettia here and one here on the bottom. And for that color, I am using Weathered Wood Distress ink. So I've got one colored, and Need to color the back. But again, I just start on the outside of that petal and drag my dauber into the middle just to give that edge some depth. Hi Janice. I apologize for the technical issues today. We'll get them sorted out for next year, for my next live. Hopefully I'll be back next year for a live. So I'm just coloring the tips of this blue one, and the same with this one. Flip it over, and I just like to color the tips. If you send hearts, it helps with the freezing. Oh, well, that's good. Send some hearts, everybody. Thanks, Diane. So there's those two. And I've had to pierce the center of these to fit my stamens. So I'm just going to make sure these are pierced. I'm going to make sure there's a decent sized hole in these for my stamens. I pierced these earlier. I just want to make sure it's large enough. Okay, so that's done. So we need to flip these over, and we'll go from the back. Turn these all over. Oh, that's a red one. I didn't color that back. The reason why I like to color them, sometimes when you give a card and people tend to look at your work and then they see that the white is not, the bottom of it is white and not colored. So I just like to make sure the bottom, at least just the tips, have color on them. So I just make sure the tips are colored. That's the only reason why I do that. So we're going to flip that over. Now I'm just going to show you how I shape them. So I'm going to lightly mist them. And this is just water. And then I'm going to use the Tim Holtz stylus and shaping mat. Oh, that leave's not colored on the back. So this, I believe, is a 6M. Yes, it's a 6M stylus. It's the Tim Holtz stylus. You can use whichever style that you're more comfortable with. And I just start at the tip and I just dab down the center. So on the Elizabeth Craft Florals, there is an embossed line on the front. So I just follow that embossed line down the back of the petal and press on that towards the center. And if you're applying enough pressure, that petal should lift up on its own, just like that. So it looks like a cup. You've cupped it. So now we're going to flip that over. Oops. We're going to flip that over and just press in the middle. So there's the one floral. So we're going to do that for the rest of them we've just colored. So the second red. Oh, thank you, Jackie. I'm glad you like my cards. That's awesome. Awesome to hear. Just flip this one over again and press in the center. And we're going to do the same with the two florals and the leaf. Just press down the center. And then I like to press up the base of that stem on the leaf. And then just make sure that tip of that leaf is out. And then the same with the smaller florals. Start at the tip, following that embossed line on the petal, and just press with your stylus and come into the middle. So for those of you just joining me, I am very sorry about the technical difficulties I'm having today. This video will be shared over on the Elizabeth Crafts Facebook page, and then you can share and like from there, and you will still be able to be qualified for the gift certificate. I'm sorry, I don't speak Dutch. Sometimes I wish Facebook would translate it when people are typing. If Esther's here, she might be able to translate it for me, but I think she stepped out. Okay, so there are my petals. There are my florals, the ones that I need to finish up. And they are all set. So I am going to, these bring in my stamens. So these are Dress My Craft stamens. So I've got 3, and I just fold them in half. Pinch that tip. And then I insert them through my hole. Now sometimes that hole isn't large enough, so I have to go over it with my piercer. Put my stamens down. So I just make that big enough for my stamens to go through. Then I just pull them through. Now you can glue at the top here, so you can put a dab of glue here, or you can dab on the bottom. Hi Paula, welcome. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue in there. And I like to use hot glue because it's quick. Thank you, Pat. I'm glad you like the cards. I will show them again at the end when I'm done with this. So I just like to pull up on the petals just to kind of pinch around the stamens. And then I cut that off, cut the threads off in the back. And I like to layer my floral. So this is another medium sized. And then I'm just going to offset that. And then I'll come back, woo, glue threads, come back in and just make sure that's going to set. So I hold it in place. And there is that's the glue strands giving me problems. There's my blue one. And then for the large red, I think that hole is big enough. But just to be sure. Thank you, Jonah. I'm glad you like my cards. From start to finish, I often have a bunch of florals pre-cut. So I'll cut maybe 10 sheets of florals, which will give me about 50 leaves. So once I have all those cut, I think from start to finish, it takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to do a card. Depending on how many layers I put in it, might be a little bit longer, but it's often an hour to an hour and a half from one of my average cards. So I'm just putting the stamens in and pull through the back. And then I'm just going to put a dab of glue here at the base of these stamens. And I'm just pulling up on the back just to make sure that thread. Hi Cleo, welcome. And then I'm going to cut off the stamen, the threads in the back. And I'm going to put some glue in this one. Now you're probably wondering why I pierced every flower. Because I don't know which one I'm going to use for the stamens. So I just make sure I pierce every one of them so that it's already done when I decide which one's going to have the stamens in it and which one's going to be the layer. So there's that one. So that's done. So all my florals are done. So I'm going to put those to the side. And then I'm going to bring in my card. So this is what I've started. I started this morning. So I'll take my little deer off. So this is the sentiment. This is from Grab the stamp set here. This is from the Classic Christmas Sentiment, and I heat embossed it. I stamped it with clear embossing, and then I heat embossed it with white. So there's, and then I just kind of give it a little bit of shape by doing this, and then you can get a nice little curve to your sentiment. So that's what I did there. For my window, I didn't want it to open, so I put adhesive on each of the cut lines on the back. And then I cut clear acetate, which I am just going to layer on top of that. So I'm just going to move this aside. And I'm going to put my liquid adhesive on the back of the window and not on the acetate. Yes, the sentiment does look very nice and white. So I'm just going to put some, I'm using a Nouveau, but any dry clear will work. I'm just going around the outside here. Just want to make sure this acetate is going to adhere. You don't want to put it on the acetate because you don't exactly know where it's going to sit when you put it down. So I like to put it on the die cut first and then apply the acetate on top of that. Now, if you wanted the doors to open, you could leave them open. The paper I'm using would make a very nice, like if you wanted the doors to open, that would look really nice like that. And they could open that way. Yeah, all the dry clear glue is hard to find right now. Just like white cardstock is hard to find. I try and order. Nouveau is one that does not freeze in the winter here in Canada, as opposed to the Art Institute dry clear, which they won't ship in the winter because it freezes. This one does not. And this is my favorite dry clear. So I think that's good. So there's my cathedral window, as I like to call it. Kind of matches our trapezoid windows we have here in our new home. So I've got that done now, and I want to put, so I love layers and I love dimension. So I did put a little bit of foam tape on the back of my cathedral window. You can keep it flat if you want to ship it or you want to send it in the mail. You can by all means keep it flat and just use your regular adhesive on it. I like dimension, so I always add foam tape to the back of my cards, the back of my die cuts. But you can certainly keep it flat. Yeah, there's still a little bit of work we need to do, Sue, but it's nice to be moved and settled, and we've just started working on my cabinets here in my scrapbook room. So they're installed now. We just have to wait, decide what I'm doing for the countertop. So that's the next step. And then I can get a little more organized here in my scrapbook room. So I'm just putting some foam on the back of this gorgeous cathedral window die from the Art Journal collection. And then I'm just going to peel off the sticky part here. And then I'm going to kind of center that in the middle of my rectangle die cut, and that is the stitched rectangles I'm using. The acetate Mercedes is on the back of the cathedral window. So what I did is I taped on the back, I taped these cuts closed. You can by all means keep them open, but the window itself is on the back of the die cut. So for my shutter, I'm kind of going to layer it like that, like I've done in my card here. I've kind of got one falling, looks like it's falling off the window. and then one's kind of stuck on the window. This one looks like it's a little slanted. So I'm just going to, I've already gone ahead and put square adhesive on the back of this on my shutter. You're welcome. I think if you put it on the front, it's a little more noticeable, and you'll likely lose the detail frame that's there. Thank you, Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle? Must be nice and warm in Florida today. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of set that off to the side like that. And I'm using foam, but again, you are welcome to keep yours flat. I'm just peeling off the squares here. Oh, this one's being stubborn. There we go. My shutters must whistle. Is that good? That they whistle. So here's the card. So the first one I kind of got off to the side, and this one, so that's a little more even. So this pattern paper is actually from Scrap Boys, and this is the Hello Winter collection from Scrap Boys. I was fortunate to be on their team for 2 years, and they still send me product with every release they have. They still send me their new releases, and I think that's pretty awesome. Yes, I know it's doesn't match the window, Paula, but I like this. I like how it looks. So that when you even if you were to close it, like if you were to actually close the shutter, you still have a bit of a space there. You're welcome, Catherine. So that's kind of how I built that. I'm from Ontario, Val. I'm actually in Hilton Beach, Ontario. I was in Stratford, that we moved and built our retirement home in Hilton Beach, which is on St. Joe's Island. So I've got foam on the back of my stitched indented rectangle, and I'm going to place this in the center of this one, and I've got my ribbon on there already, and I can show you how I did that. I just want to make sure it's not crooked. So there is my card base. So for the ribbon, all I did for the ribbon was take some seam binding, and I used weathered wood. So I smooshed weathered wood. Actually, I can demo that for you. I smooshed some weathered wood on my mat. I added a bit of water, and then I just took my seam binding and colored it like that. Tim Holtz does this all the time, so it's actually a Tim Holtz tip. And then I just kind of squish it just to give it that crinkled look, and then I let it dry like that. And you can heat set it too, and if you want it darker, you can make it darker. But there's that. That's how I did my ribbon, and I just let it dry like that. Sometimes if I do a lot, I can throw it in the dryer and it dries in seconds or minutes, but that's how I did my ribbon. So there's that. And then I've got this already with foam on the back, north of Whitby. There is a store in Oshawa, Class Act. There's a store there that I used to teach at, but I'm too far north now. So I'm just going to center this on my white, and I'll give you the measurements of the white and craft cardstock. So my craft card, which is the largest one, so that is 5 1/4 by 6 1/2, and then my white is 5 by 6 1/4, and then I've got the stitched indented rectangles that I've used there. Okay, so that's how far we've gotten now with the card. So I'm just going to put that aside, and I'm going to detail my flowers. So on my original card, you can see they kind of have this snowy, glittery finish on them. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And then I've got a little bit of snow on the deer and some snow around the shutter and the window. And how I did that, thank you, Robin, I'm glad you like it, is with this. So this is Deco Art Snow Writer. I don't use it as a writer. I use it as, I dip my brush in there, so this is a brand new one. And you have to pull off yes, I'm hope I was to be on the Elizabeth Crafts page today, but I couldn't connect there for some reason. We'll have to get that sorted out so that I don't have to do it in the family group. So this is what I'm using, is the Snow Writer. And really all I do is I grab a small white brush, make sure it's wet. I like to make sure the brushes are a little wet. It makes it a little easier to apply. Just dab off that water. Put these aside. Bring in my florals. So all I do is I dip my brush in the snow paste. Put a little bit on your mat. And then wherever I want snow on my flowers, I add snow. It's as easy as that. Now you can go as heavy. Yes, Carol is awesome. Her store's been around for a while. So I'm just going to dab off on my flowers there. Take a bit more of the snow paste. And I'm just dabbing wherever I think I want snow. And this dries white, this paste, and it also dries with a little bit of dimension to it. So it actually does look like snow. I've tried many products. I've tried the Maker Forte, I've tried Prima. There's so many snow paste ideas out there. Stamperia I've tried. It's just a little too glittery for me, some of them. And they don't have this snow look to them. Oh, this is the great way to use the Snow Writer. If you've got it, this is how I use it. I don't use it as a writer. I use the paste as an actual snow paste. That's how I use it. There's your tip for today. And I've got one left here. The only thing is when it dries, or before you're done, stick your brush in some water, because if you don't and you let it harden on your brush will be toast, as I say. So I'm done that, and I'm just going to grab a baby wipe here. Clean up a little bit of my mess. And then I haven't quite unpacked everything yet, so I couldn't find my Elizabeth Crafts glitter. So I am using Crystal Clear. So what I like to do is before that paste dries, I have a big container of glitter. So I stick my florals in there and just sprinkle the glitter on them, and that way the mess stays in that. And this is just a Rubbermaid container that I keep here in my scrapbook room. So that's what they look like. Isn't that fabulous? Poinsettias with snow and glitter. Easy peasy. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? What a great way to add some detail to your flowers. And I just don't do it on my poinsettias. I actually do that to a lot of my flowers. We'll just put these in here. So I just shake that on there. Shake off the excess. Yes, thanks, Sue. Elizabeth Crafts does have a discount today for their glitter. I'm not completely unpacked yet in my new home. A lot of my scrapbook stuff is unfortunately still in boxes while we build my scrapbook room. And this one I had out, I could find it quickly. So they have a cool glitter and a warm glitter, which will work just as wonderful as this will. So I'm just going to put this to the side for now. So there's my florals. Don't they look gorgeous with that snow? I'm going to grab my baby wipe and wipe off my brush, just so the snow paste doesn't harden too much before I can get it in some water. So I think we're ready to assemble my card now. So I've got my brush cleared off. So here's the one I'm working on, and here's the original. So this is the original card. So I think I'm going to start with the deer. So I want to add just a little bit of depth to my deer. So I am using Vintage Photo Distress ink, and I just want to go around the top of the deer and his antlers. I just want to give them a little bit of detail just to make him look a little more realistic. And then I've got a little piece of foam on the back. And then I'm going to do the same to Mama Deer. Just going to add, yes, you can spritz your brush. I've got it wrapped. I had it wrapped in a baby wipe, so it's pretty, it'll be fine. So I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to Mama Deer. So put that aside. And then I am going to put Papa Deer. Just looking at my sample here. So I've got the two deer kind of in the bottom, middle of the window. Don't want that in there. So I'm just going to place him like that. And then Mama Deer. We have a lot of deer here up north. I shared a picture a couple days ago. I had to stop in the middle of the highway coming to our place. There was 7 deer on the road. So there's Mama and Papa Deer in the middle of the window there. And then I think I'm going to start gluing down my florals. So I'll just move these cards out of the way, and I'll do a show and tell again at the end. When I'm done with these. Okay, so I'm going to start with my red, and I'm just going to use my glue gun, my hot glue gun, and put some hot glue in the back. Just kind of looking at my original and then this one I'm creating for you. Yes, I think the male and the female deer make an awesome presentation. And I know they were designed for the planner, but I think all of their dies are so versatile that you can use them for cards, for your layouts, not just for the planner or the Sidekick. So I'm just holding those florals down so that glue has a chance to set. So what I do is I normally glue my florals down, and then I go in later and tuck in my leaves and my detail, my lacy leaves. I'm just going to lift this up a bit and tuck that in underneath there, if you can see that. I'm just going to hold that. So there's the top. That's what I've glued down so far. And that Snow Rider just adds that perfect detail, doesn't it? So now I'm going to take a few of the leaves, and I find some of these can be a little bit long for this card. So I like to cut off just the tip of the bottom. And I've got three on the top corner. So I've got one here, and one on the top. So I just cut off the end, and then I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue in the back, and then just tuck these in. So this one is going to go underneath here. Just like that. And then I'm going to have this one come off the top poinsettia here. I'm going to make sure that's going to stick. So I'm just going to take my piercer and dab that so that glue sticks on there. And then the third one. So I think there was about a 20-second delay between what you see and what I see for the comments. I think it's about 20 seconds. So there's my last leaf up here in the corner. And then for the bottom one, I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to take my two red poinsettias. And I don't want to cover the deer completely. I want them to kind of peek through the poinsettias. And tuck that underneath. And there's that. So I'm just going to hold it there for a second. And then the blue one will go in the corner. So I'm just putting hot glue on the back of that, and I'm going to attach it down here. Thank you, Mercedes. I'm glad you like it. I love playing with the florals. I love creating my own florals. I think they're so much fun, and that's so relaxing and therapeutic. And there's so many possibilities with them. And that's what I like about the Elizabeth Craft florals. They don't have a name, so you can make them into anything you want. So I've just cut the tips off 3 of the leaves, and I'm going to tuck these in. Make sure that grabs there. So on this corner, I've actually got 4 leaves. So I've got one here, I've got one here, one on the bottom, and then I've got one peeking out the side here. So I'll need to cut one more. If I happen to miss your comments, I will go back after the live is finished and make sure if you have any questions and I've missed something, I will be sure to answer. I'm just going to tuck that in there and then make sure that the glue grabs the paper. Do that with this one as well. I might not need 4 leaves on here once I get the lacy leaves in. I'm just going to tuck that in, make sure it's not sticking to my ribbon. Maybe I'm just going to cut this down a little bit shorter. I'm going to tuck this one in there just by the deer. I don't want to cover him up completely, so I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter and then tuck it in a little bit further so he is not covered up completely. And then I've got my sentiment here, and I'm just going to take off the backing. And I'm just going to give this some shape again before I put it down. And I'm going to tuck that in here. So there's that. And on my original, I've got some snow paste. So I'm just going to add some more snow paste just to finish it all off. So I'm going to take a little bit more out of my container. I don't want too much on my brush at one time because I don't want it to be too heavy. So really I'm just going to dab some on the leaves. One step at a time, exactly. So I'm just dabbing snow paste where I think the snow might fall. Add a little bit to the deer. And then I'm flipping my card and I want to put some up here on the top of the window, on the shutter. And then I also want to add some to these leaves. And then while that's drying, I'm going to tuck in my lacy leaves before I forget. So I do cut these down. And then I give them a little shape. And I put a little bit of hot glue in the back. Whoops. I'm going to tuck this one in up here. Oh, I'm getting glue strings. Cut that one down. Add some hot glue to that. And I'm going to tuck that one under here. Actually, I think that might go right underneath the shutter. And I'm going to cut 2 more down. Give them a little shape. Add some hot glue to the back. Excuse me. I'm going to tuck this one underneath there. And then while that snow paste is still a little bit wet, let me grab my baby white, clean off my mat, and I'm going to just wrap my brush on that until I can get it in a glass. So where I've got the snow paste on my card there, I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter. Shake off the excess. So there it is. There is my Tis the Season. Tis the Season card. So here's the card I did on today's live. And then here's my sample. Using Florals 12 and a couple of other dies. So I'm just going to go through some of the cards I did this month for those of you that weren't here when I first opened. So this is one of the sleigh cards I did with Florals 12. And then I used the stitch circles with the Lacy Leaves and the Florals 12. This one is actually on Elizabeth Craft's blog. I did a tutorial on how I did that and how I did the background. And then I used the blooms in there. So there's that one. This is a snowflake card I did with the new Christmas stamp from Esther. This is another Christmas card, Florals 12, and then the Village Edges on that one. And then I wanted to create kind of like a wreath, so I did acetate on the cover here. Oops, they're all sliding now. I've got acetate on the cover, and then I've got my Florals 12 on there. So I hope you enjoyed my Facebook Live today with Elizabeth Crafts. My name is Karen Gerber. Marley will be sharing this onto the Elizabeth Crafts Facebook page, and you can like, comment, and share there. I apologize for the inconvenience with the technical difficulties we had today, but I'm hoping you still had a great time. Thank you for joining me. Everybody stay safe out there, stay healthy. Wishing you all a Happy New Year, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope to see you in 2022. Take care. Happy scrapping. Bye now.